Hello, y'all. My kids are sleeping, and so I thought, you know what? Since my children are still asleep, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do a read. I'm going to sit down and connect with my people. Y'all, guess what? So I was going to do 3 readings for this. This is going to be what people find you attractive, and I was very called to do 4 groups. So these are going to be quick energetic reads. We're going to just do energy reads and kind of get into what people are attracted, what people find attractive about you, but we're not going to do so much of the actual tarot. So this is all going to be sort of oracle cards that are going to represent things that people find attractive about you. Now, if you have not been here for a while and you don't know that I am I am clairsentient, so I'm an energy reader. And so what people find attractive about you from my perspective is actually going to be sort of energetic hits. It's not going to be so much the physical attributes, because I feel like many of us can fall into various things. Now, if anything comes up physically that is something that is in the forefront, like your peach, or, you know, something kind of about you physically that people find attractive, I'll mention it, but just know that this is more going to be an energetic read on how people view you through. I'm going to do like people's first impressions of you, and then as they get to know you, how that shifts in their awareness, and then sort of the general message on what people find really alluring about you. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Here's group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. Okay. Group 1. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I don't know what time of day that you'll see this. This morning, one of my subscribers, who's been around since like the channel had like 12 viewers, she said. She sent me a comment this morning. It was like, she's like, you're posting at 3 a.m. And I was like, well, technically I didn't post that video at 3 a.m. It just uploaded at 3 a.m. So who knows when you will see this video, because yesterday it took me kind of all day to get that video to upload, and then it ended up uploading while I was sleeping. So, all right, group 1. What do people find attractive about you? Instantly, it feels as though people view you as having sort of an advantage of some sort. So you could be maybe physically attractive, or you have some sort of maybe monetary gain, or some talent, or something that people view as sort of luck almost. It's giving a little bit of the it's kind of, what is it called? Pretty girl privilege, right? Which is just, first of all, it's a facade, right? To my fellow pretty girls, because the interesting thing is that the illusion within the pretty girl privilege, excuse me, is that everything is sort of handed to those who look a certain way, and I would argue that's not the reality for all people in that space. There are quite a few people that are physically attractive who have to work even harder to sort of obtain goals, because there is the perspective that goals come easily, or things come easily for them, and or there's this perception that they're heavily pursued because they're attractive, and that's also not true. And it's kind of like only the strong survive, or only the real brave kind of, and sometimes the delusional even, are the ones who kind of are brave enough to enter the space of the quote-unquote pretty girl, right? So I don't buy into that whole pretty girl privilege. Now, I think that there are some among us who have sort of had everything handed to them, but I'm not getting that vibe necessarily. This is a really humble vibe, but people view you as having sort of an advantage of some sort, be it because of the way that you look, or because of the lifestyle that you have, or the things that have been sort of provided to you in your life, or at least through their perception of what's been provided to you. All right, let's get into what are people's first impressions of group one. We'll do first impressions first, and then we'll do the deeper knowing. So let's do the surface level crap and get it out of the way first. I'm so great with sitting on the surface and being so buoyant in that space, right? Such sarcasm. I'm horrible in that space. Surface level, please, Spirit. What is the surface level of my group one? Today we're going to cut and pull just because we have 4 groups and time is of the essence. So, surface level. Interesting. That's pretty decent surface level things. It's interesting because it's sort of this interesting kind of dichotomy here of how people see you on the initial hit. It feels like there are some people who pay attention to you on a deeper level automatically. Maybe you sort of present yourself in a way or express yourself with a little depth already. And so there are people who do tap into that pretty instantaneously and see you as somebody who's really risen above the ashes. They see you as somebody who's been through some things and have risen above it. They also see you as somebody who is tenacious and willing to grab at sort of the things that life has to offer. Now, the interesting thing is the people that sort of don't see you in your authenticity see you as possibly being, it's interesting because it's 2 completely different perspectives. One is that you are kind of tough as nails is sort of something that came out, or that you have this the way they feel in this like cobra in reverse is that it's almost jealousy, almost it's like a pit of like animosity or resentment. There are some people that you kind of give the vibe, group one, that that theory that people throw rocks at things that shine kind of thing. Another hit here is the nail that sticks out the highest is the one the hammerhead hits first, right? So there are people who view you and they just don't like that you have this leg up. There are things that they don't like about you, and they almost try to just find things about you to not like even more. You may have this sort of a way about you that you present yourself authentically, and just in your words and actions and the way that you just exist kind of naturally threatens other people, and they do not like that. There are other people who see you as sort of timid or afraid, or maybe you've kind of struggled in this space of really kind of moving into your own empowerment, and some people have seen you through that and they see you as sort of but again, so with the mouse and the cobra, y'all, the energy that I feel in these 2 spaces is really, it is like underneath the heart chakra, right into the pit of the stomach, like right in that area, right? Like right under your breast, essentially, but I don't know how else to say it, sorry. But the feeling is like this heaviness in like the gut, where it's either that they feel, there are some people who view you in this sort of, it's not guilt. It's not, I'm trying to tap what exactly the specific energy is right there. But something, it's honestly, okay, it would make sense that something about you makes them kind of question themselves a little bit. Just in the way that you kind of present makes them question sort of their own individuality in a way. Well, there are people around you, group one, that it's really this it's really this vibe of it's either they love you or I wouldn't necessarily say hate you, but it's one or the other. There's something, okay, right now there's this hit in my hand. I don't know how to, it's like pins and needles in sort of my, in my right hand, where it's like hitting certain nerve endings that are kind of going off in this moment. And I'm not really sure what this is intending to, what does this mean? What is going on here and why is this happening? Um, the energetic shift just dropped out in here. So there are certain moments when I'm doing readings where everything kind of drops out, where the energy just goes like almost desolate. That and to me, whenever I'm doing a reading, it's something that I'm supposed to be really paying attention. Let me just give me 1 second to see if I can figure out what this means and why this is what this is going on. Okay, so they're showing me like a ruler coming down on someone's hand. Okay, as in there are things that you do or say, or there's a certain way that you operate that there is like this authoritative kind of response to, where people wish they could just kind of shut you up a little bit and wish they could silence you. Um, which is really interesting. Now, okay, on the other side of that, and let's get into the other energy, because this energy with the cobra and the mouse, the way that those people, the projection within that space is really uncomfortable, and it seems so unfounded. It seems so guilt-ridden. It seems so this sort of anxious animosity, really. It's really odd. In the other space, there are people who find you incredibly inspiring. They look up to you. They admire you. The way they view you is through this space of unconditional love. When I look into the phoenix and the octopus energy, it moves up in the vibrational channel into the heart space. And these people have such an admiration for you. There's also some sense of, I wouldn't necessarily find it as pity, but sympathy, where they really feel for you and they feel for the things that you've been through in order to get into this space of sort of rising from the ashes and being able to grab a hold of life. This is also a space too in which some people in these sort of what's really interesting is I feel as though these are sort of the disillusions of the reality. So people see you kind of when you're in this space of sort of trying to like get your footing and trying to grab a hold of these different spaces and find where you belong. There are people who see this in this mouse energy. And again, here we go back into that energy, where as soon as I tap into the outer ways and how people view you, it's such an energetic drop. It's a major energetic drop, actually, group one. So there are some people around you who I would really advise you to be cautious of, because they don't seem to be seeing you in your authenticity, and they don't want to either. So that's a problem. That's a no for me. Absolutely not. We're going to just dismiss that. But in these people who get closer to you, they see you as wise. They see you as intellectual. They see you as having a thirst for knowledge. They see you as somebody that they really look up to and admire, somebody that they can go to for advice, somebody that they feel they can learn from. And they have this a deep admiration for you. They trust you, they love you, they see you. And I think these are the spaces in which you feel the most seen. I think you may quarrel with these sort of other attributes because of the energy being projected onto you in other spaces. And I can fully understand that, because the energetic shift is quite a drastic difference. It is almost like yin and yang. It is the polar opposite end of the spectrum. It is though there are people within the just sort of the lower vibrational channel that are kind of upset with you. upset with just the way that you sort of naturally gravitate into your own authenticity, and they do see this as luck. Now, the people at the top of this spectrum, they see this as the hard work paying off. They see that there's no way that you could possibly kind of be in this space of this intellectual mindset or this emotional intelligence without having done the work. They have an understanding and an awareness and a comprehension of that. Whew, okay. Let's see what people, how that shifts as people get to know you on a deeper level. And then we will get into what people find attractive about you as well. I'm so grateful that that stuff in my hands kind of went away. That was like giving me anxiety for a second. I was like, what is going on? How do people view group one as they get to know them on a deeper level, please? Okay. Ooh. This is interesting. Bottom of the deck. Just want to bring out this for you. Okay, so when people get to know you on this is interesting. So it's very possible that you have a certain response to how you are approached. So there are people who do not see this tenacity coming, but it's sort of those people that kind of viewed you in that mouse-like quality, or in that sort of, they don't think that, it's almost as though with that cobra thing that you're all bark, no bite. And I don't even think you're that much bark, realistically. I think you are no bark, but not very little bark, but you will bite. So there are people who maybe step a certain way with you, and they see you go from being like fluid and present, and then you come out of the people who get to know you on a deeper level, who maybe come at you a certain way, find you unpredictable. They find that if it's I just heard once bitten, twice shy, baby. You have a tenacity about you. You have a backbone, and so there are people who see you as but it's unpredictable for them. They're not expecting it. You kind of come out of left field with it a little bit, where it's almost as though you were kind of in a tolerance. You maybe had a bit of a patience of people, and then you came in and you're just like, no, and just like shark attack a little bit. And then there are people who see you on a deeper level, and they see you as someone who's incredibly deep, but sort of has a tendency to get kind of lost in their emotions a little bit. Very, you're trying to get a grip on your emotions, trying to get a grip on the emotional spaces. They see you as enlightening, though. They see you as someone who's constantly working on this pathway to bettering yourself. And in fact, I think they see that on both sides with this moth coming out in the middle. I see you as somebody kind of, again, rising from the ashes, somebody who has went through these darker times and is moving into the light. The people who get really, really close to you see you as somebody who is, what's interesting though is also here, group one, is they do see you a bit closed off though in your emotions. It's definitely not somebody that they can get into and have super deep conversations with easily. So you might be somebody who would provide this, but it's not going to be where you're providing it often. So they see you as having all this depth, but kind of consistently in a space of working on your own empowerment and your own betterment. And so not really having a whole lot of time to sort of tap into these emotional connections. And so there is some sense of this kind of being closed off in you. And then there is another aspect of them, other people that get close that maybe step a certain way, seeing you as a little bit rigid. However, both groups do see you as consistently improving and see you as consistently sort of reaching for that light and getting into a space of betterment and empowerment. Okay, so let's get into, what do people find attractive about you? What are we going to use for what people find attractive I think we'll go with these bad boys. I don't know. The thing that sucks is that these are not easy. I don't know. I've never even attempted to shuffle these. I don't think I can shuffle these. Okay. Can we shuffle these? Are these, are we able to shuffle these? Is that a possibility? I don't even know. It's like, I love these cards, but they come in clumps, see? So they're really difficult. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, thanks. They were like, quit complaining. here's the, oh, this is so fascinating. It's so interesting, group 3, because there are some people who see you as so unobtainable, and some people who see you as just so loving and nurturing. We're going to go in here on this, though, a little bit. We're just going to pull out the bottom of the deck and get all these cards out for you. Okay, group 1. So, where are we going to start at? Let's start with the way that, okay, so people see you as having what people find attractive about you. Sorry, did I say that? It's like, this reading is supposed to be what people find attractive about you. So it's interesting, but something that people do like about you is this unobtainable quality about you, where it seems as though you're not easy to reach, you're not easy to communicate with, you're not easy to tap into, you're not easy to understand. And this air of mystery surrounding you gives this sort of alluring vibe to you. People are really attracted to it. And what's interesting, though, is because it seems as though if those people could just tap into the well within you, they would see that you are just so loving and so nurturing and so caring and so loyal and committed. And you have this sort of nature within you that is kind of like the ugly duckling story a little bit, group 1, where you maybe have spent this lifetime of really not being in this swan energy, being sort of this ugly duckling that was cast aside or something, and then blossomed into this beautiful swan. And a part of that, it feels as though your beauty externally matches your beauty internally, but you also have a backbone. You are not here to allow anybody else to step all over you. And that is something that people find very attractive about you. Another thing that people find attractive about you is you have this sort of mystic quality to you. You have this sort of knowing and understanding, and this way of looking at the world around you and being really tapped into it. And being it's interesting, though. I have to get this hit really quick, as though they do see you sometimes as being a little bit self-destructive. Okay, so we said it. We're done. We got it out of the way. Okay. It's like this hit keeps coming, like, we're going to talk about the destroyer or what? It's like, do we have to talk about it right now, or can we talk about something more fulfilling? All right, you know what? Let's just bypass what I was going to talk about, because I'm being called to just focus on this destroyer card for a little bit. So let's do it. Something about this, like this establishment of your own authenticity, something about the establishment of your words and actions and the things that you do comes off a little bit self-destructive. This would be something that attracts people to you, but in a negative way. Okay, so this attraction, while it works, it's not, so the thing about attracting energy is that we can attract energy because of somebody being, attracted to us because they have this kind, loving way of us. But then other people are they're tapping into the energetic alignment with you because of the sort of rigid thought patterns that you have or express, or the sort of there's a little bit of this self-destructive qualities within communication in particular, and having this sort of rigid sense of expressing yourself, or having this rigid sense of saying things a certain way, and then it comes off a certain way. And so people kind of they become sort of attracted to that, and in a negative way. So they're attracting in because this is something that is being advised to you to work on sort of the way your words represent, the way that your boundaries are represented, and make sure that you're doing also legitimate research before you start providing your opinions on something, so that you don't end up in these self-destructive spaces because you impulsively move into moments where you see something that gives you a certain hit, and your sort of tenacity has something to say about it. And I feel like this can come out sort of unexpectedly. Again, people see you as this shark figure, so they're seeing you sort of, it comes out of left field where they're not really expecting it. And so this is something to really kind of watch out for. Not even watch out for, is I think that if you're tapping into my collective, then I would feel that you have an awareness of this and you know it's something to work on. So do it. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way. Okay. Again, okay, so moving back into the agape and the mystic, people who get to know you on a deeper level, people who see you and really see your authenticity, see you as somebody who is really tapped into spirit, really tapped into sort of this connection that you had with kind of understanding the world in a complex way, or at least kind of wanting to understand the world in a complex way. You have this ability to think critically, and your intelligence and your intellect and your emotional intelligence is something that people really find incredibly attractive about you. Also, this sort of transformative process. There are several transformations that you've been through in this lifetime where it feels that way, where you've been through the cocooning stage, you've been through the muck, you came out this lotus flower. Because if you know that the lotus flower really needs to kind of operate and it exists and grows within the muck, right? So you have been through this space and this transformation process where you've done this sort of ascending, or you continue to ascend, and a lot of people are seeing you sort of on the edge of this major breakthrough. There are a lot of people who are sort of, it's interesting because there are some people that are on kind of pins and needles to see how this transpires for you, and other people that are kind of in the threshold of being your cheerleader and being your encouragement and being your support system. You have a lot of people around you, first of all, that are attracted to you simply because of the way that you present yourself to the world around you, just because of the way that you operate in your own authenticity. They really admire this about you, or they kind of want to see you fall a little bit. And so this is really there is some sort of hit here, group one. I'm making sure that you find your grace in this, and that you really don't let these energies, don't match in, don't pivot outside of those hits of, there are certain things and certain spaces and certain situations that are going to hit you with something that is sort of a test for you to energetically respond in a certain space and a certain energy, and you are really being advised to have grace through this and step outside of it and pivot and have sort of an accountability to your own self-destructive habits. There are some people that see you, that they become attracted into you sort of through this sympathetic state of being in this space of really feeling bad for you, or feeling pity for you, or feeling, and I think that pity is something that you really wouldn't want people to feel for you, but there are some people who sort of, there are some people who view you and they just kind of want to save you in a sense. But it really doesn't, okay, with this tier card, I just want to say, like, the energy that comes into this, it makes me feel very uncomfortable. So there's something about it in this space, sort of this feeling of someone, pitying you, that I would say really would make you feel really uncomfortable. There's something about that there's an attraction that comes in within that energy. In fact, I don't really want to sit in it for too long. It makes me uncomfortable. With the box is that there are people who feel and see that there is so much beneath the surface of you, and that's something that they find attractive about you as well. They see that there's sort of so much that they don't know about you, and this sort of complexity. And something else that comes in is that the more people that do get to know you, the more depth they find about you, and they find it a bit fascinating. And in this desert card, okay, there's two hits here. One being unobtainable, and two being somebody that really just kind of seems to operates in their own sort of plane, their own sort of field. Okay, it's where, oh my goodness, it's this space of being sort of it's a worrisome kind of energy that comes in, where people are attracted into you because they worry about sort of this isolation a bit, this desertedness that you have to you, where you just kind of have, in a sense, it feels as though you've disconnected from quite a few people in your lifetime, and it doesn't feel like, you know, they're just looking at it with a sense of worry. So that you have this attraction coming into you energetically, is some people are kind of in a worrisome state about this sort of isolating process, or this isolation that you've done. Anything else? Talent. Okay, so there's something else, is that there's something about you that is really talented, or you have some sort of gift, or there's something about you that people are tapped into, that they see is something that you have. They see it again as this leg up. This keeps coming back and being for me to repeat it, but again, how it's being presented is this is not a leg up. These are things that you really worked for, and that probably frustrates you too, to be in a space of being sort of assumed lucky, when actually these are things that hard work kind of pays off for. And it is something about your talent, or your knowledge, or your inspiration, or the way that you view the world around you, that is really bringing you into this space of people seeing you as sort of lucky. Okay, and this is going to continue to sort of transpire the more that you ascend. I do feel like you are kind of in this moment where you're not quite at your highest self, or you're at your highest self for this moment, obviously, but you are in, there's, you know, higher versions of you that you are still tapping into, and you are in that ascension process. And I really feel like you're kind of embracing that ascension process. There is one hit of just here that keeps coming through, is make sure that you're not being too rigid in these boundaries that you're setting for yourself, and really watch the things that you say in certain spaces, and the kind of energetic alignment that you may be inadvertently attracting in through this backbone energy. And understanding, like, I'm seeing, okay, this came up in a reading a few weeks ago too, is this woman that has this shield and armor, and she's in the middle of a field and there's nothing around her. She's fighting battles that are non-existent. Okay, and so this is kind of going, put your damn shield and armor down. Like, there's some element about you that you've been hurt in the past, and really to a degree that you just are kind of in this fighting every battle phase, and Spirit wants you to know that you don't have to have that armor on at all time. You can open up and you can allow people in, and it's gonna be okay. It's like a big thing here, is that because this is really there's such a beautiful energy beneath it, but there's also so many people that are viewing you as so unreachable as well. All right, let's get into the oracles on what people think about you. I'm sorry if I'm communicating really quickly. I've just noticed that I can channel so much easier if I just like just go in. Sometimes when I sit down and I think about it more, I get really tripped up and I stumble over it, and I think the messages are actually delivered a lot better if I just like let them flow. I can channel way easier that way, and just kind of just like finding my footing in that, just allowing things to say, like, come out, instead of, you know, thinking too hard on it, which I think is what I'm intended to do anyway. Okay, what do we have here? I'm just gonna cut once because that seemed like it was supposed to come out on top. Wow. And one more. I love how tarot works. That we just cut in the middle of the deck and those came out, and they seem really perfect for this reading. So we have the Summoner. I ask for what I want because I deserve to get it. People are really attracted to you. They think that you are capable of getting what you want and going after what you want. So this is something that people really admire about you. The Confident. I honor all I have done to make me who I am today. They really see you as somebody who's confident in themselves, realistically. Now, I do think that there is some aspect of you stumbling in this department, because just the idea of saying that you just, when I said that you're confident, this sort of guilt kind of, or this like apprehension came in to the pit of my heart chakra, where it was like, not trusting that aspect, or there's some element of insecurity that needs sort of tweaked a bit, and also just kind of this space too of not being so hard on yourself, that recognizing that you have, like, it's a bit of imposter syndrome a little bit, group one. So get out of that and recognize that you're a badass. Okay, thank you. The seeker, I seek new friends and experiences to expand my awareness. This is something that I feel is being sort of advised to you more so than it is that people are being attracted to you, because I actually feel like it is sort of, I don't see you really doing this. I don't think you could be sort of seeking your tribe a bit. But as far as like allowing people in, I think that you're going to have to do it in sort of your own way. You know, one way that I feel like I currently am allowing people into my world and to my thought processes and how I view things and the way that I see things is doing this tarot channel, because I've never felt more connected to tribe of people in my life. It took me so long to develop like deeper connections within people. That that have, it's like some of the ways that I feel seen in this video just in the last 30 days is crazy to me, because it's been really only those that really are close to me and send me this unconditional love and support who have really been able to see that side of me. And so it's, you know, you could be in a space too as somebody who, maybe you are somebody who could teach others through this alchemizing and this process of ascension. I feel as though group one, when I'm tapping into your energy, this is the energy that I feel most aligned to in most cases. Usually if you're tapping into the group one collective, you are tapping in straight into energetic alignment with me. This is the one that I resonate with typically the most. This is the one I connect into the most, and this is the one that I feel the most relatability within. So something about that, being in that space, if you are in the collective, you may have been through experiences that are teachable, and being able to find your crowd oh my goodness, more through a leadership role than necessarily a follower. In fact, you don't have a follower energy. You have very much leadership skills. There's that throat chakra hitting. I say that, and there's a sense of apprehension surrounding that. There's a sense of fear that exists around these leadership skills that you have, not wanting to step into this role, but kind of being in an understanding that you are a teacher. You are sort of this person who has, again, you've gathered this knowledge. You have gone through these ascension processes. And so there's something about finding your people through being able to express yourself. You have a fear in this department, and really kind of getting outside of that and finding the ways that you can move into the comfortability within your own skin. And then you have the reputable. I live my life as if my guardian angels are watching over me. It's interesting because you could really benefit from, I know that this is supposed to be about what people find attracted to, but it really feels like these last hits are really about advice. I'm sorry that I'm kind of just in my doing, reading this however it's coming across. But I mean, I suppose that they could see you as attractive because you have a relationship with God, but okay, or a relationship with believing in angels and things like that. But I really feel like it's more so that there is guidance surrounding you that you are intended to tap into, that part of this ascension process is for the benefit of raising sort of a higher learning and being able to expand that knowledge in this department. And there is a bit of heaviness here. There is a bit of I don't know, it's kind of, it taps into like, there's so much heaviness around the heart chakra. There's a lot of pain that's gone in there. So do some Reiki sessions on, you can go, oh my gosh, I don't know the guy's name, but if you just search it on here and you do like heart chakra Reiki, right? You just Google it on YouTube. There is this Reiki master. I can't remember his name, but he's got like long curly hair. He looks like Jesus, literally. That's like I'm like, he's like the Jesus of Reiki. But he's really good, and he always makes me feel like better. I'll go to his videos and I'll do Reiki healing with him. There's another woman. She's this older lady. I think her name is Sarah. She's also a Reiki master on here. I love her. She just did this eclipse, eclipse reading. I'll have to see if I can maybe find their tags and just like put them in the description or something like that if I remember. Hopefully, I probably won't remember, but yeah. just look up Reiki and do heart chakra alignment and sort of try to open up that space. Do some meditation on the heart chakra. Get into sort of, you can kind of envision seeing a light within your heart chakra and have that kind of bursting out of you to kind of open up this space for you. It's really closed off, and it's very easy to kind of close that space off for you. And relatable. I understand that one completely. Okay, group one, that is your reading. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. It means so much to me. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if this resonated with you. Thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get out group two's card. Clear out group two. My little wise cookies. Look, I got a new Palo Santo stick. My friend gave it to me, and she's so sweet. And I got a new candle. Y'all, I'm just being gifted things. My son's girlfriend gave me a candle and this little deck of tarot cards for Easter. And then my friend came over the other day and we did private readings, and she gifted me this Palo Santo and that sage. And it's like, oh, girl, I was like, did you see me using that little rinky-dinky little Palo Santo? I was not giving up on it. And she was like, yeah. And so I just love the smell of Palo Santo. I love the smell of wood in general. I was thinking recently, this is so off topic and I'm so sorry, group two. Group two, I feel like you're somebody, just real quick, that is so easy to talk to. That's like the first thing I get to you, is that you just have this sort of empathetic quality to you. And you're a really good listener, so it's like people can just kind of sit down and be like, here's my life story, group two. So that's something that attracts people to you, is that they have this space where they can open up and sort of communicate to you about themselves and feel safe in your energy. But anyway, what was I gonna say about, the other day I was thinking, there are two things I was thinking about group two. I know that you care about this, but maybe you don't. I don't know if you do or not, but you're going to know now. One is, I was thinking, so I'm single, and I was thinking that I should find somebody that I can like survive the apocalypse with, and then I was also thinking that I was like, oh, I could find, I wouldn't mind somebody that has like a wood shop and like work on wood projects, because I love the smell of wood so much that I would just be like, I just imagine myself like going out in their like garage or something and smelling sawdust and I don't know. It's like, a carpenter or something. I don't know. Anyway, okay, so group two, deep knowing. So yeah, that's the first thing that comes out for you, group two, is that it seems as though you are a really good listener. It feels like there are people, I feel like you just kind of obtain knowledge sort of naturally. You have this attractive energy to you, as though it's kind of like a magnet where people come in and they just tell you things kind of vibe. And you, what is the energy here? There is sort of this, okay, so the interesting thing, we're going to get into people's first impressions of you, then we're going to get into them knowing you on a deeper level, and then we'll get into the attraction thing, okay? But initially here, there's two varying energies that come into your field. So it's safety, and then it's apprehension. Those two things are sort of existing in unison. Okay, let's go into the surface level, because just love to spend time on the surface. Not at all. I am a deep reader. All right. Group two. Today we're gonna shuffle and pull, because time is of the essence. Nose itching. People might think about you quite a bit. You might have a lot of people in your energy right now, honestly. Okay, surface. Oh, it's interesting that I was talking about that beaver Okay, so there's a duality, and it's, oh, here's that damn swan. You might have ugly duckling syndrome a little bit. Okay, so there's a duality here that exists within you, and I'm going to get into the sort of the knee-jerk thing, and then how it gets into it a little bit deeper as these sort of first impressions can pan out. Okay, so one thing I'm being sort of advised to inform you is that the energy drops out in this moment. When the energetic shift drops out, that is my hit that you are to pay attention in this moment. So the first thing is that people see you as a lone wolf. They see you as somebody who is not only a lone wolf, but a hard worker. So somebody who is really fixated on working and fixated on sort of building sort of a tomorrow for your future. They don't see you as somebody who has a whole lot of friends. They don't see you as somebody who even really wants a whole lot of friends. They see you as a bit quiet, a bit how do I explain this? Mysterious, and they see you as somebody that it's almost as though they don't know how to, it's interesting because you have this energy that kind of pulls people in, but then when people get into your energy and they get into the space, they don't know how to get your attention, kind of. It's like they don't know what to do. It's like, okay, I'm here, I'm in your energy, now what? Is there reciprocity here? You're not easy to obtain. Your energy feels, at least that's how they're seeing you. This is surface level, okay? Is they see you as really unobtainable. They see you as not being able to get into communication. In fact, they see communicating with you as really difficult, as hard work. There's something in the pit at the back where they feel kind of burdened by having to maybe do the majority of the communication and feeling as though they are consistently sort of having to seek you and to reach out to you, and that you're a bit of a workaholic, or a bit of somebody who's just kind of fixated on building their own, again, sort of in their own energy and building their own things, and not really kind of giving in too much to connections or friendships, or this sort of, okay, so it's going to come in a little bit as though it comes off a group too, that you have this, that you don't care necessarily. I don't know if that's necessarily true. This is sort of the knee-jerk like first impressions, where it's as though they kind of, these people have been like attracted into your energy, and then they feel as though it's like you could care less if they were there, is the vibe a little bit. And I don't know how much of that is necessarily true, but I think that they see you as kind of unattainable. One thing I also see you as, like, there's also some people who see you as they see you as somebody that isn't really that showy, which is interesting because it's sort of this dichotomy of, like, when you do show yourself, it is like, it's not necessarily peacocking, you just kind of naturally peacock. You don't do it intentionally. So you, like, maybe you post a picture or something, and just because you're maybe good looking or you're attractive, or there's something about you that kind of lures people in, or because you haven't given much of yourself out in an extended period of time, and then you just post a picture of yourself or something randomly, people are like, oh, group 2, and then they kind of just flock to you a little bit. So it's really interesting because they kind of see you as like the antithesis of peacocking, realistically, where they don't see you really as giving much of yourself out, which is interesting as well, because there's also this hit that you could really gather a lot of attention in that space and in that way if you were to give more of yourself out, but you're really closed off is how they tend to see you. Now, one element is that is this hit that people see you on a surface level as being capable of more than you are doing. So there's some aspect of you, like there's like a dream, or there's a situation or a scenario or a space in which you would really want to tap into that you're just not doing. And and there is sort of this that you would be really good in this space, or you would be really well adapted if you would just kind of chase this one dream. There are also people who maybe on a surface level who have known you throughout your lifetime and have kind of seen you go through this transformation process where you maybe you could have been just like this ugly duckling kind of thing, where you went through this like nerdy phase in your childhood, or maybe you were like a chubby kid or something, or you just weren't like, you weren't the kind of kid that would be that all the, you know, that everyone would have been attracted to, that would have been getting all the attention and receiving sort of attention in that space. And then as you grew older, you actually ended up being in a space where you receive attention quite a bit. You have a very magnetic energy. But the interesting thing about your magnetic energy is almost that you're drawing people in through the mystery of why it seems as though you could care less about whether or not they're communicating with you, or they're in your energy, or they're in your space. So you do have this sort of really unobtainable quality to you, and this sort of selective quality to you as well. But again, there is this other hit here too of, there are people who maybe have seen you throughout lifetimes, that have seen you lifetimes, I don't know why I said lifetimes, that's interesting, but seeing you throughout your lifetime kind of go through this transformation process. Now, one thing I just want to just note real quick here, group two, is because it's coming out on the bottom of the deck and it's a hit that I had to note, is that there are some people too who see you on the surface level as possibly, because of this sort of aloof energy that you have to you, because of this kind of lone wolf vibe, and some people see it as kind of a game that you're playing, and that you aren't necessarily really like that, that it's just kind of a mask or a shell or a part of you that is sort of a defense mechanism to a deeper underworld of emotions, and really guarding that, or being in a space. I seriously doubt that people see it that way. Actually, I just realized that I was saying it that had so much more depth, and I recognize that the majority of people would not see that, and that's I'm sorry, group two. Okay, how would they see that on a surface level? Because here I am just kind of going beneath the surface without even trying. They would see it as manipulative. Okay, so there's some element about that where they would see that maybe they have moments where they can kind of tap into you a little bit and see this sort of emotional space to you, and then really feel cut off or closed off, or like you just, there is such an element of this like aloofness where it's like they can't reach you to save their life, okay? And they see that as this sort of kind of game you're playing a little bit. All right, let's see how people see you as they get to know you on a deeper level. And one thing I want to notate too here about attraction is, like, attracting in different energies doesn't necessarily mean that, like, for me, the way that I recognize and understand attraction is sort of what energy is being attracted into you. It doesn't necessarily mean like what do people find physically attracted to you. It's as what energetic alignment are you in is what I mean when I'm talking about attraction, because that's my MO. Okay, let's go ahead. I just want to note really quick that there is a lizard on the deck. You may be a bit of a chameleon here. That's because that's going bye-bye. It's going to the middle of the deck. Okay. How do people see you on a deeper level? And then there's a bit of a duality here as well. What's on the bottom of the deck? I have fire ant in the reverse. I actually think that's important, so I'm going to bring this out a bit. I think this is actually really important. Okay. And I think it's a hit for your own kind of awareness, and also a message for from your higher self a little bit here. Okay. So there's a duality. People see you in two very different, so it kind of depends on how they are getting, like, how, in what way that you're allowing them in, I should say. Okay, so on one side, we're going to start with the lamb and the firefly. There are people that see you as, they get to know you a little bit deeper, and then they see you as really soft. They see you as sort of really soft and really dark, honestly. There's like a duality here. They see you as very sensitive. It's interesting because there's this, okay, so there's this hit here of people. There's this hit here group too, that there are some people who, they get into your energy and they get to know you on a deeper level, and then they kind of underestimate you a little bit. If I'm going to be honest here, I don't really necessarily feel like this side is necessarily the whole truth. And I also don't feel like this side is the whole truth either. I think there's somewhere in the middle, and this fire ant in reverse is really important. So let's just dive into it. They get to know you on a deeper level, and they see you as very sensitive and very caring and charismatic, but they also see you as like a giver. They see you as a giver, but sort of in a space of, there's something about you that they really find also pessimistic and kind of dark and kind of a little bit mopey, honestly, where they see you as sort of kind of complaining or being in this complacent kind of space and not really kind of stepping out of it, or sort of being sensitive to those sort of darker emotions or those sort of feelings of being a bit, it's like an Eeyore vibe a little bit, where being in this space of just kind of, oh, I don't know any Eeyore quotes. I almost like went into one and I was like, I literally don't know any. So where are we going with this? But it was just like, doom, doom, doom. And I don't want to say it like that, but it is just kind of like this mopey vibe. But you know, the cool thing about Eeyore is that everybody loves Eeyore, even though it's like nobody understands why Eeyore is upset or depressed. It's like they can't understand. Like there's one element of that as well, is that people are just like, what is with group twos? Like, why are they so, like, cheer up, dude? It's kind of like some of the people that get really close to you feel like they just kind of have to, like, they want to just like bring you up and cheer you up and make you feel better, because you have these moments, honestly, where you're a little bit sad, a little bit just kind of a dwelling energy a little bit, where you're kind of in this space of being a little bit grumpy or a little bit pessimistic, or a little just kind of looking at the world around you and going, you know what, I don't like anything here. It's like I just saw this quote in the movie. I don't know, maybe this resonates with you in some way. I've already talked about apocalyptic survival, but I watched the movie where what is it? Leave the World Behind last night, and Julia Roberts was like, I fucking hate people. And I was like, dude, same. I was like, there were so many quotable moments in that movie. If you haven't watched it, you should really check it out. It seems like it might be your vibe, honestly. Like there might be something like teachable in that moment, because there's this one element where they're sitting in the shed and they're talking about like not liking people and sort of being in this space of pessimism. And the one girl is like, why are you like this? Why are you so angry? And it really hit me on a personal level. So I don't know, maybe it's a movie you can check out, group 2, and it might resonate with you as well. But there is like some element about that. And then you have these other people that get to know you. And here's the thing, group 2, is I think there is another collective of people that see you on a much deeper level than these other kind of surface people. And the people that see you on the surface, they see you as somebody as being really wise and really capable of like carrying a really intellectual conversation. They see you, but they see you as kind of difficult to communicate with, for sure. There is sort of one element that attracts them into you, is that they feel like you could be somebody who could have these really in-depth conversations, that you would be able to sort of explore the ocean of emotion, that you have sort of this energetic field beneath the surface that is actually vast, but it's so hard to tap into. It's so difficult to obtain, and it's rigid in some capacity, where it is sort of, it's this kind of energy that everyone else has to kind of come in order to communicate with you a little bit, where they have to kind of do, it's like they're not going to, it's almost as though you give off this energy that, if you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it, kind of vibe. It's just, but it's interesting though, because you have it. It's sort of like you have this fire kind of brewing beneath you that you have not tapped into, or that there's something kind of holding you back in this space, some element of you holding yourself back. Anyway, this fire ant in reverse, okay? the fire ant in the upright, this is be like an attack, or this energy that is sort of attacking life, attacking in this sort of passion, in this fire, in this kind of going after things. And this is the opposite of that. So it's like doing the polar opposite of that. It's like, what is it? Expecting the same thing and and what is it? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. And also being in this kind of energy of like waiting for things to happen to you rather than going after things that you really want. So there's some aspect of there's like this absence of tenacity that people see in you. And so the energy being attracted into you is sort of, it's like two-sided. Okay, so there are some people that see this as a game. They see this as a manipulative tactic, and others that see you as like they want to just push you. They just want to like push you off the ledge and go like chase life, man. Go do the things. Go fly. Go soar. Go do something. It's like two polar opposite realities here, where it's like people are like really want to be on your team, and they want to support you, and they want to see you kind of thrive and go through this transformative process and use this knowledge that you have to your advantage. And it's like this, like it's sort of the energy that comes into it, that is attracted into you, is like, it's almost like a pleading energy. It's like they just want to see you chase something. And it's really kind of like wanting to push you into that space. And then on the other side, it's like, what's interesting, group 2, is that ironically, it's like there are people around you that okay, don't shoot the messenger here, but there are people around you who don't want that for you, out of like fear of what that might entail for them and how that might change the relationship that you have with them. It's almost as though they don't want you to see your power. They don't want you to know how capable you are. They don't want you to step into, they kind of like you in this sensitive, dark, mopey energy and want you to stay in that. And then there are other people who want to pull you right out of that. And in my opinion, group 2, I would really, really pay attention to which people would love to see you pull out of that. All right, let's get into what people find attractive about you in terms of like other things. Okay, we're going to use this deck that is like impossible to shuffle. What do people find attractive about group 2? Let's shuffle these, have one more kind of pull out, and then we'll pull from the bottom of this deck. That's how we... Okay, we're just going to pull out this healer here. You have a very healing energy to you. You may be somebody that is very physically attractive. There are people that are very, like, they want to, like, have, like, a relationship with you. People who want to... I'm just going to pull out this unseen here as well. Just seems really important for this energy. Okay, let's tap into what people find attractive about you. Something that's automatically here is that there's something about you that is sort of like off the beaten path. Actually, let me take this out really quick and put this in the middle here, because we don't really need that card anymore. There. Symmetry. I don't know. Is that important to you, group 2? Are you a little bit analytical? Are you a little bit anal? Okay. Are you unpopular? Do you pop out at parties? Okay, sorry. That was an I Love Lucy quote. Oh my goodness, I can't talk in your energy. You might be somebody that like really trips people up. You might just be like really cute, or just very like something. There's really like an enigma. There's something about you that kind of draws people in just because you're just off the beaten path. You're eclectic. There's something about you that really stands out in the crowd. You're not your average Joe kind of vibe. You're really somebody that people are very attracted to, even in a physical sense. Like there's something about you that maybe the way that you dress or the way that you present yourself is just different, and that automatically just attracts people to you, even good or bad. They're looking at you just because of the way you look and kind of attracted into that and going, who is this person? Because they have this way about them, that this like presentation about you, that it really allures people in. You have a very magnetic energy. And I don't know if you know that. You might know that. Okay. So that's part of like this starborn thing. But then there's another hit here too, group two, that there's really something, maybe there's something about you that you do in your line of work, or that's something that you're really gifted in or really talented in, that people can see, and they can see that you have this like star-like quality to you, some kind of gift or talent or thing that kind of draws people in to see you as this really eclectic soul. They do see that there's like an underbelly. There's a lot of things that they're like part of why people are sort of attracted into you. And you have a very you have this energy that people chase. I feel like it's a very feminine energy, if I'm going to be transparent. Okay. Which is interesting that the king is coming out here, because it's like, maybe you're good at balancing that. Maybe you're good at balancing your masculine and your feminine, but as far as like what pulls you in, it is this feminine energy. It is this like it's that, and it's the mystery about you. There's an air of mystery about you where it feels like very little people actually get to know you. But more so, group two, I feel like it's very little people are allowed in to see you. So it kind of has this vibe of that there's something about you that is really isolated and very different, and very with this orphaned vibe as well. It's like you're kind of, again, with that lone wolf, and the orphan is that you're just one of a kind, you're on your own, you're kind of out there in, there's just not a whole lot of people like you, and you have a really healing energy. Something really kind of draws people into you, and I would really watch out for that, group two, because one thing about having a healing energy is that you can attract in very specific energies who are very self-motivated, and who just kind of they're takers, and you kind of give this like giving vibe. But interestingly enough, it's like you give, but you don't. I don't know how to explain that. It's such a weird dichotomy here. There are people that see you as relationship material. There are people who see like you are somebody that they would want long-term commitment with. You're somebody that they would consider a catch, or consider somebody as a ultimate fulfillment. Now, there is one element here too, is that this could be necessarily like these, like it's a more so there's these people that are kind of anxiously attaching into you, that they're seeing this, and it's through the space of there's something about the way that you operate that really attracts in anxious energies, and even feeds it a little bit, where the sort of anxiety that approaches you, or the people that are coming in, are like your inability to open up almost makes them want to crack this egg open more, right? It's like they want to just kind of get in there. And I don't think that you would really operate really well in a space of people pushing, but it's almost as though that might be in this moment the only way to crack the egg, is to sort of just hammer into it that, hey, I would like to crack this egg open. And so that's kind of coming through as a hit, as something being advised to work on, and getting kind of out of this closed off energy and closed off space. And because what's happening is there's some kind of fear, there's some kind of energetic alignment that is coming in here, that you're in this vibration in terms of being able to open up, that is actually attracting in very specific responses and experiences, because you're kind of attracting in this anxious alignment. Oh, hang on. My back is like not having a great time in this energy. There's something to it as like, you might just have like, okay, there's some element here. Don't shoot the messenger, group two. But there's something about this backbone in certain spaces, or really, it's not that, I don't think that you don't have a backbone, because you're coming through as quite intelligent. Okay, so very nurturing, but you have this balance. You're very balanced actually in the terms of this feminine and masculine energy, but there's something about sort of letting people in, and letting people kind of it's sort of like being like allowing takers kind of in to just take and take and take and take and take, while you give and give and give and give. And this is like a hit for you to get out of this energy a bit, and to move into your awareness, and to really focus on the things that you want. That's a big hit here, of being able to go after what you want, being able to get into a space where it's less about everybody kind of coming to you and everybody coming into your energy. And if you are a feminine, and in a feminine energy, I think it's okay to be in the space of attractive, but you have to have reciprocity in that space, even as a feminine. It can't be just like people just chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing to continue this path of reassurance with you, because that creates anxiety in the other people, right? Where they're not going to actually then be able to open up to you. They're going to get angry. They're going to be like, does this person even care? I have to continue to reassure and reassure and reassure and reassure. And so that's something that's coming through here a little bit of like a hit to kind of to work on a little bit, because some of the energy that's being attracted into you is anxious energy. In fact, there's quite a bit of anxious energy being attracted into you, group 2. And it's kind of gets in the way of being able to connect with you on this deeper level. And part of that is like this closed off energy, and sort of being in a space that allowing yourself to kind of open up a little bit and open up and let people in a little bit more than you are, and being in this sort of working on this heart space in particular. There's a lot of heaviness surrounding the heart. Being able to open up your heart into being a more trusting energy. One of the big things that's coming in here is trust, and being able to open up that heart space. All right, let's see what people think of you, or what there is for advice. That kind of comes in two ways. Last time I tried to do what people think of you, and it all came through as advice. So I don't know. We'll see how it comes out. Group 2, I would just like to say that in terms of how your energy presents, my energy is innately attracted to this kind of energy. I am so attracted into this. It's like I want to, I'm a deep diver, and when I align with somebody who has this sort of energetic field, I want to just dig deeper. And I've had to be in this space of like going, oh my God, no. I'm like, when I find myself in like sort of that chaser energy, I like get so off balance. I'm like, I don't know what to do here. And I get so anxious in that energy. So something like just to kind of hit for you to kind of know what it's like on the receiving, on the other end of things, is that it's really uncomfortable sometimes. And it's like, I'm the type of person that I have to like hold myself back from being in a chaser vibe, because otherwise I'll just chase and chase and chase, and then I'm like, oh my goodness. And that's like one of my own things that I had to work on. And it really feels like for you, group 2, that you have the opposite problem that you have to work on, sort of being a little bit more tenacious. Okay. So we have the experimenter. I am strong and secure enough to experiment as I see fit. Some people could see you as sort of being it's interesting, because I don't actually feel like it's more so. I think these are going to come through as advice, okay? So this advice here with the experimenter is more so to tap into your curiosity. It's sort of a hit for you to kind of move into the space of, I was going to say something and I totally tapped out of it, and I'm sorry. I like was going to channel in this message, and I don't know. We'll see if it comes back with the experimenter. I'm strong and secure enough to experiment as I see fit. It is something about tapping into your own curiosity and being in this space of being really able to like pick and choose what it is that you want to experience for yourself. The desirable. I accept my desires as a pure expression of my essential self. There is something about you that is just sort of naturally attractive. Okay, you're maybe good looking, or you have, I would not be surprised at this group 2 if you're not physically attractive. I think that's probably something that probably gets in the way of these connections, is that people are like automatically drawn to you out of physical appearance. Okay, so they're moving into the space of just naturally being drawn to you just because that you're good looking. Okay, and then getting even more drawn in sort of the less that they can access you. But you are desirable, and so there's some kind of hit here of being able to use that to, not use that to your advantage, but understand that you actually can pick and choose what kind of energies you're going to allow in and you're going to spend your time with, recognizing that sometimes when you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. There's another hit there as well. The initiator, I overcome resistance and do what must be done now. There is this hit of being able to chase a little bit more of what you want and going after what you want a little bit more, instead of being in this space that's kind of always in this receptive energy and sort of of waiting for things to happen to you. And that's a big hit here in this collective for you, group 2, is that you're like seem to be consistently in this space of waiting for things to come to you rather than moving forward and going after what you want. You might be really surprised that, especially if you're a masculine, okay, like especially if you are a masculine. If you are a masculine and you're in this sort of space of reciprocity, don't shoot the messenger, but you are operating in a feminine energy. And so if you are a masculine and you're listening to this, like part of being able to kind of move into balancing into your masculine a little bit more would actually for you to begin taking action in the spaces in which you're waiting for things to happen for you or happen to you, okay? The improviser, I effortlessly adapt to deal with unexpected circumstances. You may be going through this period in your life where you're kind of experimenting into new, if you are somebody who's kind of always been in this receptive space and you're not really somebody that goes after what you want, you could be kind of taking baby steps and you might be even fumbling through that. And it's okay. First of all, when you fumble through it, don't get scared and kind of retract. It's really easy to do. Been there, done that. I'm like a little scaredy cat when it comes to establishing boundaries, and I'm with you. I feel you. Fist bump, group 2. I'm in it with you. I'm in the thick of it with you. I understand that process, but just keep trying, okay? And communicate. If you're in those spaces and you are going through this process, just be like honest about it. That's something that it's easier said than done, and I'm certainly preaching to the choir here because I'm not great about doing this myself either. But building into the awareness, the communication is literally the key to all things, right? The protector, I respect people's boundaries and require the same from them. And this is about establishing your own boundaries, because it really feels as though one thing that is sort of really present here is there may be I don't think that there's necessarily a fear of establishing your boundaries per se, but I think your boundaries are, I'm getting the like paper thin. And what I mean by that is that you have this sort of, it's like, yes, it's like, okay, it's sort of like writing a list of boundaries and going, okay, I have boundaries. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to say it that way, group 2, but it's kind of like, no, you actually have to like embody those. you have to put your boundaries to motion, okay? We can't just like write them down on a paper and call them boundaries. That's not how this works. We have to establish our boundaries. We have to get into a space where we're actually doing things with our boundaries, okay? So, all right, group 2, that is the message that I have for you. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below and let me know how this connected with you. I love reading the comments. It's my favorite part of the day. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, and also turn on the notifications so that you can receive, so that you can be notified when a new video comes out. Thank you so much for being here, group 2. Enjoy the rest of your day. Group 3, let's do a little bit of a chat, shall we? Not me. I need some caffeine, y'all. If y'all are not new here, or you are new here, or one or the other, I'm still suffering with my decaf coffee. I accidentally bought decaf one day and my little puny brain was like, it's totally okay. It's not going to have any effect on me whatsoever. Huh. When you're wrong, you're wrong, okay? And so here I am, and I'm just like over here drinking my fake coffee. Like, what? This is doing nothing for me. What am I doing here? Just suffering. But it is what it is. I notice like this, you want to hear like the level of desperation that I have over caffeine. Okay, so I have these water pills, and I realized that they were 100 milligrams of caffeine. And last night I took one and I was like, what are we doing? We're literally taking water pills for like, talk about addiction. Like, that's how addictive caffeine is. Oh my goodness. Okay. Interesting that we're talking about that in your energy, group 3. So maybe people are like addicted to you. Okay, so what we're going to do today is an energetic read to get into the surface level of how people see you. Now, really quick, it's what the interesting thing is with the why coming out, the energy that's coming into this is more so that you have this you have this ability, or that you have this sort of aspect of you that is curious about life. You have this sort of but also people are like, it's also another hit is that people are looking at you kind of like with their heads cocked, like, I don't like, this is a difficult one to understand. I don't know. There's a sense of curiosity that people have surrounding you. All right, let's get into the first impressions. What are the first impressions for group 3, please? First impressions for group 3. We're going to cut and pull today just because time is of the essence. Oh, that was horrible. You didn't see that. What an awful shuffle. Okay. People could get really nervous in your energy. And confused. Did you see that? It's like all of a sudden I didn't know what I was doing. Interesting. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Are these supposed to be in the reverse? Oh, let's move them all this way. I feel like, see, everybody's confused. We don't even know what we're doing in group 3's energy. Okay. How do people see you? The first impression that they have of you. Okay, so there's like two sides, okay? There's two first impressions that come in. One is people see you as very observant and very emotional, having this like vast emotional well within you, and being somebody that is capable of sort of kind of zoning out and being at sort of this bird's eye view of life, really looking at things from an objective perspective and having this sort of all-knowing kind of a little bit of an omniscient vibe. I'm not gonna lie, group 3, it's like some people put you up on this pedestal a bit, where they're putting you in this space of not that it's unwarranted, not saying you don't belong there or anything, but they are putting you in this sort of space of kind of looking up to you and looking at you as somebody who has this like wealth of knowledge to obtain. There's another aspect of people seeing you as really fierce and really loyal and really tenacious, kind of this like predatorial vibe a little bit, but it's not, it doesn't come off that way. It's really just like, what is this? It's like people like you, and honestly, it's like people like you. You're not one of those people that really seem to have, you know how some people just have like, they have haters and then they have lover. No, you have this like this inquisitive like all around this vibe is like inquisitive about you. It's like people are not looking at you and they're not feeling jealous of you, or they don't have like this animosity. Like they just like you. You're likable. You have a very kind of this like beautiful, serene sort of energy, and they do see you as like hardworking and playful and very balanced, okay, in this sort of poised kind of grace that you have about you. It's a really renowned kind of, it's almost like higher self energy. I'm not gonna lie, it's like you've kind of worked through some major things and you're kind of at this like, you're at this like top tier of energy almost. It's very inspiring. It's really, it's kind and compassionate and caring and understanding, and you have this sort of wisdom about you where it's less about, I don't feel like there are many people that are coming in and combating you on that. They're really looking at you as somebody that they can look up to and somebody that they can tap into on sort of this I don't want to say emotional level, but there is some kind of aspect. It's very balanced. Okay, there's a lot of balance to you, and people are very curious about that. And it seems that you're very curious about life too. You kind of just tap into all these like spaces just for kind of learning a little bit, where you're just kind of gliding through, just like this sort of seeker energy a little bit, sort of seeking out knowledge and seeking ways to kind of understand the world around you. And you do it with such grace and such poise that people really, they kind of you kind of have this healer earth angel vibe a little bit. Now, I think there are two types of earth angels, okay? There are earth angels that come in and they have this vibe that is very compassionate and loving and understanding, and it's sort of kind of this like, I don't want to say God-like space, because I think that's definitely the wrong space to put that in, because like God is like all by itself, right? But it's it's like just angelic, okay? It is sort of, there's like one element of angelic that is very, it's moving from love and unconditional love, and in this space of just compassion and understanding. And then there's another type of earth angel that are like the truth seekers, and so they kind of mirror into energy, okay, where they are fair and honest, and it's all about straight facts. And there are varying archangels that actually embody these different sort of personalities, right? This kind of, if you tap into the energy of, say, Archangel Michael, that is a straight facts energy, right? But your energy is sort of this angelic quality, has a bit more of a grace to it. It's more about, whereas like one person near you would kind of lay down the hand of God, essentially, you would be the one to kind of like coddle it in. It's a very nurturing, motherly, beautiful, warm, inviting energy. And apparently people see that immediately. That's like the first impression, is people are very tuned in to kind of this energetic field. And the thing is, group 3, that's such a rare energetic field that it's probably why it's sort of, it doesn't like, it's almost as though people just cannot not like you, because that's not in you. You don't have a whole lot of that vibration in you, in order for them to attack and attract and project into. So you don't have a whole lot of that kind of lingering in you, where you don't have a lot of that animosity or that kind of energy just kind of sitting in you, in order for other people to attract into it and, get a lesson, I guess. But it's definitely a higher vibration. So it is a space of being in sort of energetic alignment with like this higher realm of life. And I think because you operate in that space, it's, people can't really not like you. It's just really, have a very likable quality to you. Let's see how people view you once they get to know you on a deeper level. My brain just said, let's see how much of that's a facade. I do have the dragon on the bottom of the deck, so I think you are definitely fierce. Oh, I'm like tearing up my poor little fingers right now. Been a while since I shuffled like this, and this deck in particular is just tearing up my fingers. I just saw like that the world's smallest violin playing in my head. They're not amused by me. How do they see you? Interesting. I just really feel compelled here, group 1 or group 3. I don't know why I just said that. Hey, you know what? Okay, I'm just going to give you this hit that perhaps group 1 is sort of your, like, this is almost your higher self coming through, and group 1 is like your, like a past version of you. I'm just going to like throw that in here real quick. It's interesting, but you check out. Not that I wasn't anticipating that, but I just thought it was funny that I was like, let's like be questioning it, kind of like, maybe that's that curious vibe where people are like, is this person really like this? Are they really this kind? And yeah, not only are you kind, you're wise, incredibly wise. And you have this energy that, again, you step outside of things and you look at things from an observational standpoint. You are very much an observer person. And people see that. They see that you kind of don't take, you're not one to just take a side, okay? You're one to step outside and look at things in an all-encompassing space. There's something about you with the golden egg and the cosmic egg coming through that is, you are one of a kind. And by one of a kind, I mean the amount of people that legitimately operate in this energy is astronomically small. It's very rare. There are very few people that are operating in a space of true compassion at all times. Let me just go there because I'm getting a bit of the Mother Teresa vibe here a little bit, but it is kind of like that, group 3. It really is. I don't know. I feel very fortunate to be operating in your space. I'm just going to say that. I'm grateful that you are here, and I'm grateful that you are tapping into my collective, because that's an amazing thing. Okay. And they also see you as, they get to know you and they see you have this like thirst for knowledge. They see you as somebody who's always, again, it's like interesting because the way that you are presented is the way that when people get to, it doesn't falter. Okay. They don't kind of see you in one space and then they get to know you and then they see you in a different light, which is how it's been for the other collectives before you. No, in your collective, they are seeing you in your full authenticity. The second that they meet you, you have compassion, understanding, awareness. You have a beautiful energy that people are tapping into, and it's rare. It's such a gift. It's a true, beautiful, magnetic gift that you have to operate in this space. They see you as very wise, and you are somebody that stands out. Okay, so if with the elephant in the room kind of vibe here, is that it's for you, it's like the opposite of, you know how the elephant in the room is usually like something that's not being said or not being like addressed, right? No, for you it's just, it's kind of more so like you walk into the room, and so if like an elephant were to walk into just a standard room, everybody would be like, oh, an elephant, you know. And that's kind of like how it is with you, is like you walk into a space or you walk into a room and you have this energy that's like magnetizing in the best way possible. It's like you're very physically attractive, but in addition to being physically attractive, you're one of those people that has like the outside matches the inside kind of thing, and the rarity of that is so powerful and amazing and beautiful. And so you have this sort of, you are like this enigma or this anomaly where people see you as sort of this grace center. It's just, it's very angelic. It's very beautiful. It's very wise and kind. And I don't know how, like, if you resonate into this group 3, like give us some pro tips on how it is that you came into this space and this awareness and operated in this reality, because it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do in general, but it's definitely not easy to do in the world that we live in this moment. So the fact that you are able to operate in this energy in this moment in time is so beautiful. Thank you for being here, group 3. Thank you for allowing me some time in your energy, because I really feel like time for you, I mean, time is valuable for all people, don't get me wrong, but not all people understand that. But you are coming through as someone who thoroughly understands the importance of time. So from my perspective, the fact that you're able to tap into my energy or tap into this collective and to be able to give me some of your time is it's an honor almost to be in this energy with you. Thank you. Okay, let's see about what people find attractive about you. You may have like a sex appeal a little bit with this. The arrows is like an erotica card. Okay, let's go bottom of the deck. I'm going to pull out 3 more, excuse me, from the bottom of the deck. You do have this sort of all-knowing quality to you. Very balanced energy. Interesting. You kind of feel like, you know what's interesting about this mirroring energy is I actually don't think that you mirror. I don't think that you reflect onto others by operating like they do. I think you operate with grace and sort of you hold the mirror out as though you're not going to act like that, but you're just going to kind of hold the mirror up so that they can see themselves, because how they interact with you and your response to it sort of like the response that you have moving in this grace and kindness and compassion, it sort of forces them to look in on themselves like, oh, it's almost like just by, oh, I don't know how to explain this. It's like being in a space where you accidentally like step on a kitten. I don't know how this is like, where am I going with this? But it's like instantly feeling like guilt for how, because you stepped on the kitten. You're like, oh my God, what have I done to this poor kitten? And it's kind of like that. And not, you don't have a kitten like energy. Don't like, well, maybe a kitten, like a, anyway, okay, anyway. But you don't have that kind of like, you don't have that meek kind of personality by any means, but it is sort of this like just by your grace and the way that you represent. If someone were to come at you sideways or come at you a certain way, you not kind of being like, not even allowing it to affect you even remotely, just automatically like cuts them off, and then they have to focus. Their only choice in that moment is to sort of deal with themselves and deal with their own energy, because you're not, by not giving into it and not reflecting it back to them and just holding the mirror up for them to see themselves is like very powerful, extremely powerful. There is something about something that people are attracted to is they find you very sexy. You have this sort of sex appeal about you. But the interesting thing is I don't think you would be an easy person to get into that space. I think it's, here's the thing is I don't think it's locked down. Don't give me, like, I think you explore that well, okay? I think you explore your sexual body very fluidly, okay? But are you promiscuous? No, not even a little bit. So you're not going to be somebody that will just sleep with anybody. So I feel like there are some people who look at you sort of in a sexual sense, and they're like, I wonder what it's like to like be in the bedroom with that person, because they just have this awareness that there's something so like wise and like worldly about you and sensual about you, that just the way that you operate and the way that you exist in the world around you is something that is very eroticizing to people. It's like they want to kind of know what that's like. There are people have known you over a period of time and they've seen you really blossom into this really beautiful and wise and just like kind and graceful human. And so there's a part of this transformation process about you. There's something about you being sort of different than like, it's different than the rest. And I want to say that there's, in terms of like the minority of people who really realistically operate in the space that you're operating right now, it is so small. It's at least small where I'm from, I should say. There's something being hit that this could very well be a collective that's tapping in from a foreign country. But here in America, it's such a rarity. It's so rare to encounter energy that is like this. I would say that the majority of us won't encounter an energy like this except for in like children. It would be the only space that you would be able to tap into an energy that's kind of like this. But even then, that's weird because I just realized what I was saying. But the only energy that would have this sort of like kindness would be, and even then it's not an innocent vibe at all. So I think I just really misspoke there. It's more so, it's kind of like this, like, what it's reminding me of being on like a plantation and having like this old grandmother down there that has has lived like this long life in like the South, right? on this like old plantation farm, and you know that if they live there and like it's in a certain era, right? They have been through some things, okay, some heavy things, okay, down in the South there, and but they have come out of it, and then they have all this wisdom and grace, and they're just sort of like they're like the neighborhood grandma kind of thing, and it's just like this old lady on a porch with all this wisdom and all this beauty and grace that has sort of weathered this really tough life and didn't allow it to get them down. That's the energy of it, you know. Except for you, it's like a little bit, you know, it's kind of like there's also this like side that's like a little bit of a vixen in there, but not necessarily like not a vixen in a way that is like, you know, siren, you know what I mean? It's not like alluring people in for sexual pleasure kind of thing. It's just that you have this sort of, you definitely have kind of tapped into all the pleasures of life. And that's interesting. What is interesting is this duality within the sword has something to do with that sexuality, okay? It's kind of being in a space of people seeing you as kind and compassionate and understanding and wise and spiritual even, and then also seeing as though they just like they're sexually attracted to you, they're physically attracted to you in that way. And then it's sort of this culmination of being just like very allured by you because of your grace and your kindness and your sensuality. There's like this little flame that people can kind of see, and there's a very clear balance within you that you may really balance into your feminine and masculine in the most graceful way. It's really, I mean, I could just sit in this energy all day, group 3. It's really beautiful. It's almost like can we be friends? I don't want to be your girl, I want to be your friend. I think I said that wrong, but that's okay. All right, let's get into what people think of you. I really feel like many people probably wouldn't really understand you that well. You have such a uncommon energy. All right. What do people think? In every other space, I've given advice in this space, but I really feel like this is not how it's going to be here. I feel like you're the one who could give the rest of us advice if I'm going to be frank here, group 3. The Tamer. So you have, I believe my cause to be just without anger at those who disagree. Yeah, you have this way of establishing your own boundaries and this way of moving about that is graceful, and it's not in a way that steps upon anybody else in the process. You really have this just beautiful energy to you. The Initiator. I overcome resistance and do what must be done now. This may be a hit for you a little bit. So some of these things have come through for advice, but one thing that is coming through is sort of not necessarily that you need advice, but it's sort of that you could be somebody that really offers advice. You have this energetic alignment that is so raw in its authenticity and its compassion for others, that you could really be, it could be a teachable person. If you're not in a space that is teaching others, then I would say that you maybe haven't found your calling, because you could really, I don't know if you maybe want to be in that space or not, but I feel like you could be a real inspiration to others by teaching us how to respond in difficult situations. Would be something I think would be really good, a lesson that would come in from you. The Improviser. I effortlessly adapt to deal with unexpected circumstances. That's cool, actually, because it's hard sometimes to adapt in the moment. It's hard to be in like knee-jerk moments and respond with grace. And so again, like being able to teach, I really don't feel like there's any advice coming through for you in particular, group 3. I feel like it's a blessing for us to kind of be in your energy in this collective personally. So thank you for being here. I think that we could learn from you is how it's coming across. The Independent. I am aware of my inner dialogue and direct it by positive imagery. Yeah, again, you're one of a kind, and there are not a lot of people like you. And I feel like that's just reiterated here over and over and over again. And the lustful, I embrace my individuality and sexuality as sacred gifts. Yeah, that seems to be something that comes through very prominently within you, and I've kind of tapped into that quite a few times, of recognizing that you have a lot of sex appeal. There's something that people are, it's kind of what draws them in is they're sexually attracted to you. But interestingly enough is that even as being in this space and being in this sort of it's like, even if people were jealous of you, I don't feel like it lasts very long. Like, it's like something about you sort of allows them to see themselves more authentically, and they don't give you that energy. They don't give you jealousy or animosity or anything to be anxious about. It's not that space. And you would really think that it would be that with people having this, with you having this sex appeal and people being sexually attracted to you, but it's not the case at all. At least it doesn't feel that way. All right, that is what I have for you, group 3. If you resonated into this and you would like to be here in the future, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would like to have you here in the future, so if you could just subscribe for that, like I would love to have you around and hear from you in the future for sure. So if you can leave me a comment below on whether or not this resonated with you, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here, group 3. Enjoy the rest of your day. Okay. Group 4. I can't believe I'm doing 4 groups. All right. I started this when my children were still sleeping. And I can tell that they're awake right now. That's how long I've been doing this reading for. All right, we're going to clear out group 3's energy for you. Group 3 was pretty like inviting, so we'll go ahead and get into your energy here in group 4. All right. Enchanting gifts. Okay, so how we're going to do this is we're going to tap into the first impressions for you, group 4. I hope I don't stumble over this. I don't have a group 4 very often, so if I stumble over saying group 3, just bear with me here. I'm going to try to remember to say group 4 and make sure that I am saying the right group number for you. Okay, so we're going to do first impressions first, and then we'll do how people see you on a deeper level once they get to know you, then what people find attractive about you, and then how people feel about you or think about you, or any advice that kind of comes through in that. Something to notate here is that I am clairsentient, so what I'm tapping into is more so the energetic alignment coming in towards you, and not necessarily the physical or the ego attributes. So I kind of tend to stay away from surface level readings. It's just not my jam. Okay, this collective. Okay, so really quick, I haven't had a song come out at all today, but I just had the song come out. Why am I such a misfit? I am not just a nitwit. So you might be, I feel like this is kind of my misfits gang a little bit, and we're here to kind of take you under our wing because we haven't had a group 4 collective in a little while. We've only had it one other time, and so I think we're just kind of roping you in to let people know like what they find attractive about you. So welcome, group 4. Okay, so what is the first impression in my group 4s? I do feel like you're newbies here. I'm just gonna be transparent. I feel like you're kind of new to this reading, or new to something kind of, there's some kind of newness coming in where maybe you haven't tapped into a reading in a while, or have never clicked on one of my videos, and this is, you're kind of a first timer here. So we're going to show you how tarot is read in our neck of the woods. How about it? All right, let's get into what are the first impressions that people have of you. Oh, look at the dragons coming in. I am actually going to move these around for you just because I feel like these are out of alignment. Okay. Now this is really interesting because you have this sort of energy. This is very interesting that you, okay. I'm just going to be like really open in this space because I feel like you're the type of, you've kind of been through, you're kind of on this pathway of life of really like, I don't want to call it an identity crisis. Okay. That's not how I want to say it, but you have been through this sort of ugly duckling syndrome. There's been some sort of transformation within your life where you kind of have blossomed from this ugly duckling into this beautiful swan. And people see that about you. It's something that is like the first impression of seeing you as sort of this tenacious. Oh, I got children talking in the background. Do you get people distracted into your energy? So I see you as kind of having gone through this, this transformative process, and people do see you now, this first impression, as that you are sort of being in this space of like embracing that in its full, like you are not out here hiding who you are anymore. You are like fully into this space of like, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, I don't even think it's that, honestly. I don't even feel like it's in this space if you don't like it. You're just kind of being in this energy of being yourself and being your full self and being, putting yourself out there in a space that I will say kind of commands attention a little bit. And so being somebody that has this sort of, there's a tenacity about you, realistically. There's this, this way that people see you, that they're just kind of mesmerized by you. They see you as this like wise creature, someone who kind of have really risen from the ashes and went through this transformation process. It's a little bit, it's interesting because I have the horse here, but it's almost more of a unicorn vibe if I'm going to be transparent. Really somebody who's connected into this like otherworldly aspect. You could be a psychic, or could be a light worker, or could be somebody who reads tarot as well. And you have this sort of, spunk to you in this way about you that is eclectic, artistic, creative. You're really tapping into the building into this space of really moving into your authentic self, and people are seeing that. They also see you as sort of this observer status of being in this space of really kind of zoning out and looking at the world around you and really kind of being able to tap into life and being in this sort of objective reality, and being able to operate in a space of looking at sort of all sides of a coin before really honing into your decision making. And it's kind of yeah, it's like putting yourself out there and kind of fearlessly, almost like in this air of confidence, or this just being able to really hone into your gifts that you have and this quality that you have within you, this really eclectic and creative and magnetic kind of energy that you have that just attracts attention naturally, kind of. All right, let's see how people view you as they get to know you on a deeper level. But I mean, that sort of knee-jerk reaction is nice. I like that. All right, how do people view group 3 when they get to know them on a deeper level, please? How do people view group 3 when they get to know them on a deeper level? You have the owl popping out. They might be a little wise. All right, we're going to cut the deck and pull today just because we have a time restraint. Interesting. Oh, that's cute. I'm going to leave that vulture in the reverse, actually. Oh, very interesting. Oh, actually, let's go on the bottom of the deck. Let's see what we have here. I'm going to put this Giselle out in the reverse. And I'm also going to bring out this fish for you just because it feels important. Okay. The first thing I want to say is that people see you. Okay, so when they get to know you on a deeper level, they see you as somebody that's really able to kind of tap into, that really has this sort of compassion for all kinds of of different kind of energies and different kind of energetic alignments. They don't see you as somebody who really, they don't see you as a gatekeeper. So like if you are in sort of the spiritual world, or you are somebody who is tapped into maybe tarot readings or some kind of spiritual gift or spiritual quality, like you're giving in that space. You don't hold back. You don't gatekeep in that space. You really give out all the information. You're really open and vulnerable. They do see you as somebody who is a little bit, they see you as extroverted. They see you as very comfortable communicating with various groups of people. They don't see you as somebody who as a taker. They see you as somebody as a giver with this vulture in reverse. Other people see you as somebody who's kind of earning their stripes, somebody who is kind of really kind of not just earning them, has earned them, has gone through this process of being able to utilize life and kind of wear it as like these badges of honor, where you're, and more so that it's not like a badge of honor like look at all that I've been through, pity me, but look at what I have been through, and I worked through it, and I healed through it, and you can too, and kind of being in this cheerleader like vibe. They see you as somebody who flows really well with their emotions, and somebody that is really adaptable and easy to kind of communicate with, and is just somebody who kind of flows into flows with their emotions and flows into these certain spaces. They see you as really happy, and they see you as sort of like gallantly kind of navigating throughout life and throughout the spaces that you give your attention to. They see you as somebody who is really adaptable and knowledgeable, and there's some kind of gift that you're giving out to the world around you that people are really tapped into. They're really kind of flowing to you and operating in a space of really seeing you as somebody that they either want to aspire to be like, or that they find very alluring in that space, and trusting and being a bit of a trustworthy energy. All right, let's find out what people find attractive about you. Okay. We're going to actually put this guy aside. What do people find attractive about group 3? Look at all these that want to come out. They see you as really creative, funny maybe. I'm going to go, okay, here. All right, we're going to go bottom of the deck and move out these. I definitely see you as the mystic and having some sex appeal. Okay. Interestingly enough is that there is some kind of they see you going through this sort of transformation process. There's something that you're going through in this moment, or that you've been through, that you're kind of on the teetering. You're like on the breaking point of, you're kind of like in between worlds would be another kind of card that would come up, which is from the Wisdom Oracle deck that popped into my mind, is that you're teetering on the fault line of this new beginning. And they see that, and they're, that's something that is attracting energy into you. Now, part of attraction is not necessarily about physical attraction, what people find physically attractive about you. I know that there are some people who tap into my collective and they're like, okay, but what do they find attractive about me? Because we're using the word attractive in a different sense, and I'm using the word attractive energetically. And so this is the energetic alignment that is being brought into you on what attracts people to you. There's an air of mystery about you. They feel like there's a lot of depth to you that they aren't really seeing yet. They see you as very poetic, very good with words, very creative, and humorous too. There's something about you that people find funny or cute or charismatic or alluring in that sense, where they can really tap into your sense of humor is something that really draws people in, and your way with words is something that maybe you're funny with words, or you're really witty with words, and this kind of draws people in towards you. Again, there's this transformation process. Now, it's interesting with this father coming through, because I actually find this duality of, with this card, with the father being a sort of this balance card, I want to say that this is a balance in between your feminine and masculine energy, that people are kind of tapping into seeing you kind of have this tenacity tenacity and also the softness to you. People being able to see you kind of teeter between these worlds, teeter between these emotions, teeter between being in an energetic alignment with your sort of more motherly aspect, and also being in energetic alignment with the fatherly side as well, being in sort of this space of teaching, in this space of action, in this space of chasing and going after what you want, in unison to being this nurturing, sexual, and alluring kind of energy. I know mothering is not necessarily sexual because that would be weird, but there is a lot of this like eroticism beneath the surface on maybe people are attracted into your voice or the way you speak or the way you communicate with this like poet kind of like maybe the words and how you speak them comes across really poetic, and that is drawing people into you, and that is something that attracts people to you. And there's this other aspect that there are not many people like you. There's something about you that sort of taps, like it stands out in the world around you, and you have this sort of new way of thinking, this new way of being with this apocalyptic vibe. I see this card consistently as sort of this, it's like new world kind of person, like a new world vibe, or it's not modern, it's not traditional, it's like, it's in a space of its own kind of zone, right? Where you're operating in a space as sort of like a teacher within those spaces, is sort of teaching the other collectives how to kind of unite almost, is like, of the weird, like the space that it kind of exists in, or at least looking at the world through like a very I don't want to say tunnel vision, I don't want to say narrow, because it's almost being in this collective that is like a minority, where you are in this space where there aren't many people like you, there aren't many people navigating in this path with you, there aren't a lot of people sort of transgressing through this process with you, and you're kind of you're in this space that's kind of going about this alone, yet also seeming to build a following through this. You are somebody that seems like you would have a following of people sort of inspired by you, or interested in what you have to say, or interested in seeing what you're doing, or kind of tapping into the mystery that is you, because there's something about you that is in this like leadership role, and it's very charismatic and very alluring and very fun and creative and just beautiful and enigmatic, and there's just like this sort of air about you that you are just somebody who kind of naturally attracts attention by just sort of existing in your own authenticity, and you're really comfortable in your authentic self. And there are people who see you kind of having gone through this transformation, and there are people who see you again as being sort of like, they've already seen this growth in you, this transformation that you've had, sort of moving into this butterfly status, and also seeing you sort of transition and step over into this threshold of an even higher awareness and this higher ascension process. So it's a very beautiful energy. I apologize, group 3, if I've been kind of quick through this. I have been channeling really quickly to kind of save on time, and I had done this when my children were all sleeping, and it's Easter Sunday, and now they're all awake, and so I'm kind of feeling a little bit, I'm not feeling like I have to rush this by any means. I think I can communicate what needs to be said, but I'm feeling like, you know, that whole mom guilt thing creeping in a little bit. So we don't want mom guilt in this reading, now do we? All right, let's get into maybe advice in this moment, or what people think of you. It'll be one or the other. It's been kind of coming through in 2 ways, so it'll be like whatever kind of resonates in here. Oh, goodness. Okay. Okay. You have the initiator, the nurturer, the emperor, the desirable, the spectrum. And I'm going to bring out the seeker from the bottom of the deck for you as well. Okay. So the initiator, I overcome resistance and do what must be done now. Yeah, I feel like part of that authenticity that you have within you is sort of, you're kind of on this like path of like, definitely not like walking down the beaten path, right? So you're kind of taking this road on your own and being in a space in which you are tapping into this way of life that not everybody is walking down, and that can be a little bit nerve-wracking, but you're really being embodying to just continue embracing your authentic self, and that is going to help you so much on your journey. A part of this also is nurturing. Maybe that's why I brought in that mom guilt thing, you know. I deserve to feel nurtured because I give care to those I cherish. There is, again, I said with that father card that I got that hit that it's also a balance of this motherly energy as well. And so that is just kind of feeling confirmed in this moment by bringing in the nurturer thing. The Emperor. I am worthy of respect because I am respectful of all. Now you have this sort of a balance within you, okay? The Emperor and the Empress are the embodiment of all the kings and queens, right? So it's like the King of Swords and the King of Wands and the King of Pentacles, and what didn't I say? Oh my goodness. Okay. King of Swords, King of Wands, King of Pentacles, and King of Cups. Good grief. I didn't say the King of Cups, of course. Maybe there's a reason that I didn't say the King of Cups. Maybe there might be a little bit of hit on an emotional body here that needs kind of tapped into. I don't know. But it is the embodiment of kind of all those spaces, right? And being in this balanced energy. And coming in as this like balance between the feminine and masculine is really important. We all have femininity and masculinity within us, okay? And being able to balance into that is really important in navigating forward. Because if we teeter on one side or the other, where we're falling too far into our masculine or too far into our feminine, we actually find ourselves really off balance. And this can create all kinds of really major issues within us, identity crises, and all kinds of things can happen when we're kind of in an imbalance, and finding ourselves in that imbalance has a lot to do with our life experiences or environmental experiences. There's so many things that can kind of filter into why we would operate in this space of imbalance. But realistically, you're coming through as somebody who has a really balanced energy within this, so I don't know if it's just a hit to maintain that. You are coming through as the desirable. I accept my desires as a pure expression of my essential self. Now, this is more so like people find you physically attractive and people find you sort of alluring in that space. And this is being kind of embodied, like no matter what you look like, your energetic alignment is kind of bringing in this energy in which people find you very desirable. The spectrum, I root out and reject prejudice in myself and others. You could be, now see, I'm ADHD, and so one thing that I know is that just hearing the word spectrum is that I feel like there's a big possibility it could be neurodivergent. And the thing is that the cool thing about neurodivergence, I mean, there's a lot of hiccups in that, but one cool thing is that neurodivergents they go through this path where they finally like kind of embrace their own authenticity, or they just constantly feel like they go through this phase of really not feeling like they belong in the world, and then suddenly they like find their footing and they're like, you know what, maybe I belong in the world like just as I am, without having to kind of be in this follow all the rules and be the way that everybody expects me to be, and I can just be myself. And then lastly, you have the seeker here. I seek new friends and experiences to expand my awareness. There's some hit about you making sure that you kind of find your tribe, that not necessarily that you seek out your tribe, but more so by being in your own authentic self, you're going to attract in like-minded people and people that operate in the same energy that you do. And so making sure that you are continuing to move forward in your own authenticity and not fearing your authenticity is what is going to allow you to bring in this tribe of people that are supportive of you and understand you and see you for this like really magnetic and beautiful and poetic and creative and sensual and funny and charismatic person that you are, because that's what you deserve, group 3. All right, group 3, I apologize that this is a little bit of a quick reading, but if this resonated with you and you would like to hear more from me, please come back in the future, like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment down below. The comments that you guys write on these channels are my favorite part of my day. I love reading them. They make me so happy. Thank you so much for being here, group 3. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm sorry. Oh, see what I did there? I said group 3. Thank you so much for being here, group 4. Enjoy the rest of your day.